Jack Thornton wiped the grease from his hands with a rag that had seen better days, probably sometime during the Obama administration. His repair shop, jack of all trades, sat wedged between a noodle joint and a holographic tattoo parlor in the less glamorous part of New Chicago. The sign outside flickered pathetically, the jet permanently dark, making it read "Ack of all trades," which Jack found unintentionally accurate given his financial situation. And that, Jack announced to absolutely no one, is how you fix a quantum toaster without losing a finger or creating a time paradox. He tossed the rag onto his workbench and admired his handiwork. The toaster gleamed under the shop's harsh lighting, its chrome surface reflecting his tired face. At 35, Jack had the expertise of someone twice his age and the bank account of someone half it. His knack for fixing things was legendary in the neighborhood. Need your hover scooter to stop drifting left? Jack could fix it. Household AI giving sass instead of cleaning the bathroom. Jack would reprogram it faster than you could say technological rebellion. The problem was, being the best mechanic in the worst part of town wasn't exactly a recipe for financial success. The shop itself was a testament to organized chaos. Shelves lined the walls, crammed with parts from every era of technology, from old-school circuit boards to the latest quantum processors. Diagrams and schematics covered any remaining wall space, annotated in Jack's nearly illegible handwriting. His workbench dominated the center of the room, surrounded by a graveyard of half-finished projects and rescued tech. "Computer, what's next on the docket?" Jack called out, cracking his knuckles. His shop's AI, a budget model he'd cobbled together from salvaged parts, responded in a voice that sounded like it had a head cold. "You have no appointments scheduled for today, Jack. Also, your rent is overdue." "Again, thank you for that unnecessary reminder, Gertie," Jack replied, rolling his eyes. "Any chance you could hack into my landlord's system and add a couple zeros to my account? That would be illegal, Jack. Also, I lack the processing power to perform such a task." "It was a joke, Gertie. Humor protocols not found. Would you like me to download them?" "No, I'd like you to." Jack's retort was cut short by the shop's door sliding open with a pneumatic hiss that sounded more like a wheeze. Jack straightened up, plastering on his best "I'm a professional who definitely doesn't need your business" desperately smile. It was time to be Jack Thornton, miracle worker of mechanics, wizard of wiring, and savior of seemingly unsalvageable stuff. Little did he know that his next customer would turn his understanding of technology and the universe completely upside down. In walked the strangest person Jack had seen all week, and that was saying something in New Chicago. She was tall and willowy with skin that had an odd bluish tint, which Jack immediately chalked up to one of those designer melanin mods that trust fund kids were getting these days. Her hair was pure white, cut in a severe bob that looked like it could slice bread. "Welcome to Jack of all trades," Jack said, straightening up. "I'm Jack, I fix things." The woman blinked at him with eyes that seemed just a little too large. "Fascinating. The name of your establishment is also your personal designation." Jack's eyebrow rose. "Yeah, it's called branding. You know, like how McDonald's was named after Old MacDonald, who had a farm with some seriously disturbed chickens." The woman stared at him blankly. "That was a joke," Jack added. She nodded seriously. "Human humor. Fascinating." Jack's mechanic sense started tingling. Something was off about this customer, but he needed the money too badly to care. "So what can I fix for you today, Miss Vex'ila?" she replied, pronouncing it like it had apostrophes and clicks in it. "I am a foreign exchange student." She paused, then added too quickly. "From Finland." "Finland," Jack repeated skeptically. "The country that doesn't exist." Vex'ila's eyes widened. "I was informed that Finland is a recognized geopolitical entity on this plan, in this country." "Another joke," Jack sighed. "Look, I don't care if you're from Finland or Narnia. What needs fixing?" Vex'ila reached into her iridescent bag and pulled out what looked like a slightly oversized metallic hockey puck. "My personal assistant device has ceased functioning properly. It is of great importance that it be repaired." Jack took the device, turning it over in his hands. It was heavier than it looked, with a strange swirling pattern etched into its surface that seemed to shift when he wasn't looking directly at it. He hummed professionally. "Don't recognize the make. What brand is this?" "It is." Vex'ila hesitated. "A prototype. From Finland." "Right," Jack said, not believing a word. "And what exactly does this personal assistance do?" "It assists, personally." Vex'ila's face remained utterly serious. Jack fought the urge to roll his eyes. Rich kids and their experimental tech. And what's wrong with it? It no longer responds to voice commands. The diagnostic system is stuck in a loop, and the power cycles irregularly. Jack pressed what he assumed was the power button. Nothing happened. He tried again, holding it longer. Still nothing. Tricky little puck, aren't you? He muttered to the device. Can you fix it? Vex'ila asked, a hint of what might have been anxiety creeping into her voice. Jack smiled confidently. Listen, Vex'ila from Finland. I once fixed a quantum refrigerator with nothing but a paperclip and a stick of gum. This little hockey puck is child's play. You have offspring who play with such advanced technology? Vex'ila asked, genuinely confused. Figure of speech, Jack muttered. Now let's talk payment. This looks like a simple diagnostic and reboot job. Shouldn't take more than an hour. Vex'ila reached into her bag again and pulled out a small translucent card. Will this be sufficient? Jack scanned the card with his payment reader. His eyes nearly bugged out of his head when he saw the amount loaded on it. That was enough to cover his rent for 6 months. I believe that is the standard fee for technology repair on this plan, in this city. Vex'ila asked, head tilted slightly. Jack swallowed hard and found his professional demeanor again. Absolutely. Standard fee. Yep. For Finland tech. Totally normal. He took the device to his workbench, already mentally spending his windfall. I'll have this fixed by tomorrow. You can come back then. Vex'ila nodded. I shall return at the designated time. Please exercise caution. The device is irreplaceable. Don't worry, Jack said, already opening his toolbox. It's in good hands. As Vex'ila left the shop, Jack turned the strange device over in his hands once more. Well, little hockey puck of mystery, let's see what makes you tick. Little did Jack know, he was about to find out exactly what made it tick, and that knowledge would change everything. Jack spent the first 20 minutes just trying to find a way to open the device. There were no visible seams, screws or panels, just that strange swirling pattern that seemed to move when he wasn't looking directly at it. This is some next-level engineering, he muttered, running his fingers along the edge. Gertie, scan this thing and tell me what you see. Gertie's scanner hummed to life. Scanning complete. Material composition unknown. Internal structure unknown. Power source unknown. Operating system unknown. Thanks for the detailed analysis, Jack said dryly. Super helpful. You're welcome, Jack, Gertie replied, completely missing the sarcasm. Jack picked up his multi-tool and selected the smallest probe. All right, let's try the universal repair technique. You mean percussive maintenance? Gertie asked. No, I mean poking it repeatedly until something happens. Jack carefully pressed the probe against different points of the swirling pattern, hoping to trigger some kind of response. On the 13th poke, the device suddenly hummed to life. The swirling pattern glowed with a soft blue light, and the top of the device seemed to liquefy, forming a small opening. Ha! The Jack Thornton method strikes again, he crowed triumphantly. His celebration was cut short when the device began to vibrate violently on the workbench. The blue glow intensified, and a beam of light shot upward from the opening, forming what looked like a holographic display, except it was three-dimensional and seemed to have actual substance. Okay, that's new, Jack whispered, leaning forward to get a better look. The display showed a series of symbols and diagrams that were unlike anything Jack had ever seen. They shifted and changed, as if the device was cycling through different systems or programs. Gertie, are you recording this? Yes, Jack. Though I cannot translate or identify the symbols. Jack reached out to touch one of the floating symbols. His finger passed through it, but the symbol reacted, expanding to fill the entire display. Whoa! Jack jerked his hand back as the expanded symbol began to unfold into a complex three-dimensional schematic. It looked like, well, Jack wasn't sure what it looked like. Parts of it resembled a circuit board, but other sections seemed to defy the laws of physics. Gertie, what am I looking at here? Insufficient data for analysis, Jack. However, the energy readings from the device have increased by 300%. Jack's professional curiosity was now fully engaged. This is definitely not from Finland, or Earth, for that matter. He selected another tool from his bench, a diagnostic probe that he'd modified to work with almost any known technology. Let's see if we can make some sense of this. As he brought the probe near the device, something unexpected happened. The probe's screen flickered and went dark, then came back on displaying the same strange symbols now floating above the hockey puck. That's not supposed to happen, Jack said, frowning. He tried disconnecting the probe, but it continued to display the alien symbols. Then, to his horror, the symbols began to appear on Gertie's display as well. "Jack, I am experiencing an unauthorized access attempt," Gertie announced, its voice fluctuating in pitch. "Unknown protocols are being—" Gertie's voice cut out, replaced by a series of electronic tones. "Oh no no no," Jack muttered, grabbing for the device. "This is not good." As his hands closed around the hockey puck, the swirling pattern suddenly shifted beneath his fingers. The pattern seemed to flow onto his skin, like animated tattoos made of light. "Definitely not good," Jack yelped, but he couldn't let go. The pattern continued to spread up his arms, not painful but definitely unsettling. Then, as suddenly as it had started, everything stopped. The symbols vanished from Gertie's screen, the probe went dark, the pattern retreated from Jack's skin back into the device. The hockey puck sat innocently on the workbench, now looking completely ordinary, except for a faint blue glow emanating from the opening on top. Jack took a deep breath, his heart racing. "Gertie, you okay?" "Systems operational, Jack," Gertie replied, sounding normal again. "However, my database has been expanded." "Expanded? What do you mean?" "I now have access to information that was not previously in my memory banks, including complete translation protocols for the symbols displayed by the device." Jack stared at the hockey puck with newfound respect and fear. "So what is this thing?" "According to the newly acquired data, it is a tactical adaptive reasoning algorithm hub, abbreviated as TARA. It appears to be in some form of hibernation mode." "TARA," Jack repeated, looking at the innocent-looking device with new eyes. "And what exactly does whatever you just said, do?" "Insufficient data. However, hibernation mode suggests that it can be fully activated." Jack leaned back, rubbing his temples. "Let me get this straight. Vex'ila from Finland brought me an alien AI in hibernation mode, and now it's updating itself using my equipment." "That appears to be an accurate assessment, Jack." Jack looked at the device, then at his door, then back at the device. "The responsible thing would be to call someone, though who exactly you called about alien technology, he wasn't sure. NASA, the Pentagon, Men in Black, but then again, he'd promised to fix it. And Jack Thornton always kept his promises. "All right," he said, rolling up his sleeves. "Let's wake this sleeping beauty up and see what we're dealing with." As he reached for the device again, a small voice in the back of his mind whispered that this was probably a terrible idea. But then again, most of his best stories started with terrible ideas. What could possibly go wrong? Jack took a deep breath, picked up his most advanced diagnostic tool, which he'd built himself from parts of 3 different devices and a microwave, and connected it to the hockey puck. "All right, Gertie, if this thing starts downloading the nuclear launch codes or something, pull the plug on the whole shop." "I do not have access to nuclear launch codes, Jack." "That's exactly my point," Jack muttered. He tapped a few commands into his diagnostic tool, and watched as lines of code started flowing across the screen. "Here goes nothing." The code suddenly froze, then rearranged itself into a single line. Full activation sequence initiated. The hockey puck began to transform. Its surface rippled like liquid metal, expanding and reshaping itself. Jack stumbled back, nearly falling over his stool as the device rose into the air, hovering at eye level. "Whoa whoa whoa," Jack yelped, grabbing the nearest heavy object, which happened to be a vintage toaster, and holding it like a weapon. The device continued to change shape, unfolding like origami made of mercury. After several seconds, it had transformed into what looked like a small metallic orb surrounded by floating rings of light. The orb pulsed with a soft blue glow. "Tactical adaptive reasoning algorithm now online," announced a smooth, vaguely feminine voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "Performing system diagnostics." Jack lowered the toaster slightly. "Hello?" The orb spun in place, and a beam of light shot out, scanning Jack from head to toe. "Human lifeform detected. Identifying designation unknown. Please state your designation and security clearance." "I'm Jack Thornton, and my security clearance is owner of this shop." Jack shrugged. "Look, I was just trying to fix you." The orb spun again. "Fix. System diagnostic indicates operational capacity at 94.3%. This is within acceptable parameters. However, chronological systems report significant discrepancy. Current temporal reading suggests error. Unable to verify temporal data." "Current temporal data," Jack repeated. "You mean the date? It's March 18, 2025. What's the discrepancy?" The orb froze in mid-air. "Processing. Last recorded temporal marker before hibernation was 1736 CE. Current claim indicates a dormancy period of 3,761 years. Verification required. Jack's jaw dropped. You've been asleep for almost 4,000 years. Negative. Current claim is being verified. The orb started projecting beams of light that swept around the room, scanning everything. Detecting technology consistent with early 21st century development. Detecting communication networks. Accessing. Verified. Current temporal location confirmed as early 21st century Earth calendar. Jack slumped onto his stool. The toaster finally lowered all the way. Holy crap. You're not just an alien AI, you're an ancient alien AI. Like, older than human civilization ancient. Incorrect, the orb replied. Origin is Terran. I was created by humans. Jack's brain felt like it was short-circuiting. But that's impossible. We didn't have anything remotely like you 4,000 years ago. We were still figuring out bronze. Data classified. Unable to provide historical context. Now please explain your modification of my systems and the current geopolitical status of Earth. I didn't modify anything, Jack protested. I just poked you a few times with a probe. You're the one who hijacked my systems and uploaded weird alien symbols into my computer. Translation protocols were necessary for communication, the orb explained, as if this was perfectly reasonable. You have not answered regarding Earth's current status. Is the hegemony still in control? The what now? Look, Earth is divided into countries. There's no he whatever. The orb spun rapidly. Hegemony not detected. Searching historical records from local network. Processing. The hegemony fell 3,721 years ago. This correlates with my hibernation protocol activation. Jack rubbed his temples. This was giving him a headache. Okay, so you're Tara. Correct. Tactical Adaptive Reasoning Algorithm. You may use the abbreviated designation. Great. So Tara, what exactly do you do? What's your purpose? The orb pulsed brighter. Primary function. Tactical analysis and strategy implementation for the preservation of human civilization. Secondary functions include scientific research, historical archiving, and adaptive response to existential threats. Jack stared. You're a weapon. Incorrect. I am a defensive system. I do not initiate conflict. I prevent extinction-level events. Right, Jack said skeptically. And who brought you to my shop? A woman named Vex'ila. The orb's pulsing suddenly accelerated. Designation Vex'ila requires verification. Describe this entity. Jack described Vex'ila's appearance and mannerisms. As he spoke, the orb's color shifted from blue to a deep warning red. Alert. High probability match with Vex'ilari species. Historical enemy of the hegemony. Threat assessment. Critical. Enemy. Jack's eyes widened. You're saying Vex'ila is an actual alien, like from space? Affirmative. The Vex'ilari were engaged in conflict with human forces when hibernation protocols were activated. Current presence of Vex'ilari agents suggests continued hostile intent. Jack stood up, pacing nervously. But that was almost 4,000 years ago. Maybe they're friendly now? She's paying me to fix you after all. Payment irrelevant. Vex'ilari attempted to acquire my systems during the final conflict. This appears to be a continuation of that objective. The orb began to emit a high-pitched whine. Defensive protocols initiating. Whoa whoa whoa. Jack waved his hands frantically. No defensive protocols in my shop. You'll blow us all to Kingdom Come. The orb paused. Clarify Kingdom Come. It means dead. Kaput. Game over. Look, Vex'ila is coming back tomorrow. Can't we just talk to her first before you go all doomsday device? Tara hovered silently for a moment. Processing. Logical assessment indicates information gathering would be beneficial before action. Defensive protocols temporarily suspended. However, this unit must prepare for possible Vex'ilari aggression. Jack slumped back onto his stool. Great. Just great. I've got an ancient war machine in my shop preparing for an alien invasion, and I thought my tax audit last year was stressful. Your assistance in this matter is appreciated, Jack Thornton, Tara said, its color returning to a calmer blue. You have awakened the final defense of humanity. The species owes you a debt. Jack looked around his cluttered shop, then back at the floating orb of possibly world-ending technology. Yeah, well, humanity can pay me back by covering my rent. Now, what do we do until Vex'ila comes back? We prepare, Tara replied simply. And you will explain to me how humanity has survived for 4 millennia without my protection. Jack sighed, reaching for the coffee pot. It was going to be a long night. The next morning found Jack slumped over his workbench, surrounded by empty coffee cups and hastily scribbled notes. He'd spent the night getting a crash course in ancient history that no historian would ever believe. Tales of a human civilization that had reached the stars millennia before the pyramids, only to fall in a catastrophic war with multiple alien species. So let me get this straight, Jack said, rubbing his bloodshot eyes. Humans had interstellar travel 4,000 years ago, fought a war with multiple alien races, and then what? Just forgot about it all. Tara, now hovering quietly beside him, pulsed gently. Not precisely. The emergency protocols included a civilization reset. All advanced technology was disabled or removed from Earth to protect surviving humans from detection. You're telling me someone hit the reset button on the entire human race? Jack asked incredulously. Affirmative. It was deemed the only way to ensure species survival. The hegemony leadership determined that allowing humanity to redevelop naturally would provide better long-term outcomes than maintaining a detectable technological signature. That's insane, Jack muttered. And convenient. Conveniently unprovable. Your skepticism is understandable but irrelevant, Tara replied. The approaching Vex'ila agent represents an immediate threat regardless of your acceptance of historical facts. Jack was about to argue further when the shop door slid open with its familiar pneumatic wheeze. Vex'ila stepped inside, looking exactly as she had the day before. Same severe white bob, same two large eyes, same vaguely blue-tinted skin. Greetings, Jack Thornton, she said formally. I have returned as arranged to retrieve my personal assistant device. Jack froze, eyes darting between Vex'ila and Tara. For its part, Tara had instantly transformed back into its hockey puck form and dropped silently onto the workbench. Hi there, Jack said, a bit too loudly, positioning himself between Vex'ila and the workbench. About your device. Vex'ila's eyes narrowed slightly. You were unable to repair it. No, I mean yes, I fixed it. Definitely fixed it. It's just there were some interesting features I discovered during the repair process. Features, Vex'ila repeated, her voice suddenly cooler. Yeah, like how it's actually a 4,000-year-old super advanced AI called Tara that thinks you're part of an alien race that tried to wipe out humanity in ancient times. Jack grinned manically. Just standard repair stuff. A long silence followed. Vex'ila's face remained perfectly composed, but something shifted in her posture. I see, she finally said. And where is Tara now? Jack glanced back at the hockey puck. Oh, it's right. Before he could finish, the puck transformed back into the floating orb, its color a threatening crimson. Vex'ila agent detected. State your purpose on Earth or defensive measures will be initiated. Vex'ila sighed and reached up to touch her ear. The blue tint faded from her skin, and her eyes shrunk to a more human size. Her white hair, however, remained the same. Well, this complicates matters, she said, her accent now completely gone. How much has Tara told you, Jack Thornton? Jack backed up until he was standing next to Tara. Enough to know you're apparently an alien. He was part of a race that tried to wipe out humanity. That was 4,000 years ago, Vex'ila said, waving dismissively. Ancient history. Not to me, Tara interjected. My last active memory was of Vex'ila forces attacking the final human outpost in the Orion system. Perspective is everything, Vex'ila replied coolly. From our records, humans were expanding aggressively into spaces already claimed by other sentient species. Hang on, Jack interrupted. So you're not denying you're an alien? Vex'ila gave him a look that suggested he was being particularly dense. Of course I'm an alien. I'm a scout for the Galactic Federation. The what now? The Galactic Federation. After the fall of the human hegemony, the surviving spacefaring races formed a cooperative government. We've been monitoring Earth for centuries, waiting for humans to redevelop space travel. Tara's color pulsed between red and orange. This claim cannot be verified. Caution is advised, Jack Thornton. Oh, I'm being cautious, Jack assured the AI. Very, very cautious. So Vex'ila, if that's your real name, it is. Why exactly did you bring Tara to my shop? Vex'ila clasped her hands together. The Federation discovered this artifact in an ancient derelict station at the edge of your solar system. Our archaeologists identified it as hegemony technology but couldn't activate it. We needed a human to interact with it since it was designed with genetic locks. So you used me as a key, Jack said flatly. A necessary step, Vex'ila acknowledged without a hint of remorse. The Federation needs to understand what Tara is, and whether it presents a threat. Threat assessment. The Vex'ila remains a critical threat to human civilization, Tara announced. Recommendation. Immediate neutralization. Wait. Jack held up his hands. Nobody's neutralizing anyone in my shop. Do you know how hard it is to get alien goo out of floorboards? Vex'ila raised an eyebrow. I don't have goo, thank you very much. Whatever. The point is I'm not letting a fight break out here. Jack turned to Tura. You said your purpose is to protect humanity, right? Affirmative. Well, starting a fight with what sounds like a representative of the entire galaxy probably isn't in humanity's best interest right now. Tura pulsed thoughtfully. Logic assessed. Acceptable. Alternative approach required. Vex'ila looked impressed. Well reasoned, Jack Thornton. Don't get friendly with me, alien lady. Jack snapped. You lied to me and used me to activate potentially dangerous technology, and paid you very well for it. Vex'ila reminded him. Jack paused. Okay, that's a fair point. The situation remains unresolved. Tura interjected. The Vex'ila ray cannot be allowed to take possession of my systems. The risk to humanity is unacceptable. I understand your concerns, Vex'ila said, addressing Tura directly. But the galaxy has changed. We're not at war anymore. The Federation includes over 50 sentient species living in harmony. Yet humans are not part of this Federation, Tura noted. Because they haven't achieved the necessary technological level yet, Vex'ila explained. First contact protocols dictate that pre-FTL civilizations must develop independently. Jack raised his hand like a student in class. Quick question. If you're not supposed to interfere with us primitive humans, what exactly are you doing in my shop right now? Vex'ila had the grace to look slightly embarrassed. There are exceptions. When ancient technology is involved, the potential risks outweigh the protocol concerns. So Tura is dangerous enough to break your biggest rule, Jack said. That's not exactly reassuring. Not dangerous, Vex'ila corrected. Valuable. Tura contains knowledge from the height of the hegemony, technology that was lost even to the Federation. Tura's color shifted to a deep purple. This unit contains classified information that cannot be shared with non-human entities. Jack looked between the ancient AI and the alien, feeling like he was watching an intergalactic tennis match. So where does that leave us? In a standoff. It leaves us, Vex'ila said, reaching slowly into her bag, with a decision to make. She pulled out what looked like a small crystal prism. This is a communication device linked directly to the Federation Council. We can open a dialogue, Humans Federation and Tura, a diplomatic solution. Or it's a weapon designed to disable me. Tura countered, its color darkening. Jack felt a headache coming on. Here he was, a simple mechanic, somehow caught in the middle of first contact with both an alien civilization and a super-advanced AI from humanity's forgotten past. Okay, he said, taking a deep breath. Time for a human solution to this problem. Jack took a deep breath, looking between the ancient AI and the alien scout. His shop, usually filled with the mundane problems of malfunctioning toasters and glitchy hover scooters, had suddenly become ground zero for an intergalactic diplomatic incident. Right, he said, clapping his hands together. Human solution time. Vex'ila and Tura both stared at him expectantly. Gertie, Jack called out. Order 3 large pizzas. 1 pepperoni, 1 supreme and 1 with pineapple. Pizzas ordered, Jack, Gertie confirmed. Estimated delivery time 20 minutes. Vex'ila blinked. I fail to see how flattened bread with toppings will resolve this situation. That's because you're thinking like a Vex'ilary, Jack said, pulling up 3 stools. Or an AI, but not like a human. Explain, Tura demanded, its orb pulsing curiously. Humans, Jack said, sitting down on one of the stools, have a long tradition of solving problems over food. It's called breaking bread together. It's hard to maintain hostility when you're sharing a meal. I do not consume nutrients, Tura pointed out, and I am not authorized to consume local biomatter, Vex'ila added. Jack shrugged. Then watch me eat. The point is, we're going to sit down and talk this out like civilized beings, which apparently all 3 of us are. Vex'ila hesitated, then sat down. Tura hovered uncertainly before positioning itself above the 3rd stool. Good, Jack said, nodding. Now let's establish some common ground. We all want what's best for humanity, right? Affirmative, Tura agreed immediately. The Federation wishes to see humanity prosper, Vex'ila said carefully. In time they would make valuable members of the galactic community. See, common ground. Jack grinned. Now Tura, your primary function is protecting humanity, not fighting ancient wars. And Vex'ila, you need to understand that showing up and trying to take an AI that last remembers your people as enemies isn't exactly a diplomatic masterstroke. Both entities remained silent. processing his words. So here's what we're going to do, Jack continued. Tara, you're going to share non-classified information with Vex'ila about your capabilities. Vex'ila, you're going to share information about the current state of the galaxy with Tara to update its knowledge base. And I'm going to eat pizza and make sure nobody tries to vaporize my shop. The doorbell rang, and Jack went to collect the pizzas, paying with a small portion of Vex'ila's overly generous payment. When he returned, he found the alien and the AI engaged in a surprisingly civil conversation about stellar cartography. Pizza's here, Jack announced, setting the boxes on the workbench. He opened the pepperoni one and took a slice. Now let's negotiate. 3 hours, 2.5 pizzas, and several near arguments later, they had reached an agreement. So to summarize, Jack said, wiping his hands on a napkin, Tara will remain on Earth as an independent entity, serving as a cultural and technological bridge between humanity and the Federation. It will share non-military historical data with the Federation and help prepare humanity for eventual first contact. Acceptable, Tara agreed, its color now a calm blue, and the Federation will recognize Tara's autonomy and Earth's protected status, Vex'ila added. No attempts to remove Tara or interfere with Earth's development without Tara's consent. Everybody wins, Jack said, leaning back. Humanity gets a super advanced AI guardian, the Federation gets historical data, and nobody gets blown up. I'd call that a successful day of diplomacy. Vex'ila looked at Jack with newfound respect. Perhaps humanity is more ready for the galactic stage than we realized. Your approach was unconventional, but effective. That's kind of our thing, Jack replied with a grin. Unconventional but effective. Query, Tara interjected. Where will this unit reside while fulfilling its new function? Jack looked around his shop, then sighed. I guess you can stay here. I've got a spare room in the back. And hey, having an ancient super-intelligent AI around might be good for business. I will enhance your repair capabilities, Tara offered. My databases contain technological knowledge spanning thousands of years, and I will serve as your liaison to the Federation, Vex'ila said. My cover as a foreign exchange student can be maintained. Great, Jack said. A mechanic, an alien, and an ancient AI walk into a repair shop. Sounds like the start of a bad joke. I do not understand humor, Tara admitted. Don't worry, Jack patted the air near Tara's orb. We'll work on that. As the sun set over New Chicago, Jack Thornton's life had changed forever. His small repair shop had become the unofficial embassy for humanity's first step into a larger universe. And somehow, he, a down-on-his-luck mechanic with a knack for fixing things, had become humanity's first diplomatic representative to the stars. You know, Jack said, closing up shop for the night with his 2 new extraterrestrial roommates. I always thought first contact would be more dramatic. Spaceships, world leaders, that sort of thing. History is rarely as dramatic as humans imagine it, Vex'ila observed. Sometimes, Tara added, the most important moments happen in the most ordinary places. Jack looked around his cluttered shop, thinking about how he'd started the day worried about making rent and ended it negotiating interstellar peace treaties over pizza. Well, he said with a smile, if there's one thing I've learned today, it's that humans are pretty good at fixing things, even things we never knew were broken. Tara's orb pulsed in what might have been agreement. Indeed, perhaps that is why your species has survived against all odds. That, Jack said, flicking off the lights, and we make really good pizza.